Thanks to everybody for joining us this morning. Welcome. This is the first time that we've done this, and it all came about thanks to COVID. So, we've put us online with such a lot of our other events and programs that we would normally run face to face, and gave us the thought that maybe we should do it for the teams that we work with most, and you guys, we deal with you all the time. So we thought this was a good opportunity and a good way to put some faces to those names that we deal with all the time. So I'm going to cough now, excuse me. So thank you all for joining us this morning, and thanks for being part of the team that delivers the Community Citizen of the Year Awards. This is a 25th year, so it's a big year for us, and so it's been had a few different names. A few years ago, we changed from the Premier's Active Citizenship Awards. That's how they were introduced. And I must say, I went to a local council event a couple of years ago, and the MC, who had been doing their event for many years, still referred to it in that way. And I said, "Oh, could you just get him just to change that?" Because I don't think the governor would be too happy. He knows that he's the patron of the Premier's Award. So first things first is everyone make sure that we refer to it the right way and get your MCs on board with that. This year we've introduced a couple of new little elements to the logo and all the signage and digital stuff that we're messaging around it, to reflect a national campaign that's started this year, but it will go in a lot more detail this year, and it'll flood TVs and whatever. Not what we do, it's the National Australia Day Council that's part of that. And it's a way that we're asking people to consider the way that we recognise Australia Day. The date is how it is at this stage, but we can maybe change the way that we celebrate or recognise the day. And so the reflect, respect and celebrate little tagline has been incorporated, and we invite you, encourage you to use that where you can, and that we're all part of the story, so that we try and encompass all demographics and all cultures and nationalities that have come to Australia. So if you can share that, there'll be something actually that's coming out from us in conjunction with the National Australia Day Council, and that'll come to all the CEOs in the local shires, offering them some opportunities to get some signage free of charge, which is great. We all like free stuff, and so there'll be a process around that, but that'll be coming out to everybody soon. So not necessarily about this, but it's reflected in the way that we refer to it. Just a couple of the highlights. As I say, it's 25 years, and the governor is the patron and has been for a couple of years. He's hosted a couple of morning teas for a few of our recipients over the last couple of years. A bit tricky this year because of COVID situation, and access to Government House is a little limited because of the spacing arrangements, and so he hasn't been able to do that this time. But when we talk to potential supporters, and we've got that this year with Channel 9, and their 3 radio, TV and digital news, they're really excited about the fact that this is recognising local people, but it's on a statewide basis, so that it shows that to them, they value the fact that it shows our support of local initiatives that are being throughout the state. So they're going to help us share those stories this year. So hopefully it won't be just within the local community or on people's own Facebook. We'll try and share those stories where possible, and Channel 9, 6PR and WA Today are coming on board with that to help us share those stories, which is really good. And they've become really engaged, actually. They're very supportive, and I'll show that as we go through some of the things. This is just a status of some outcomes from last year. So it shows pretty good engagement. 76 local councils. We'd love it if everybody was part of the program, but it's not feasible. That's 76. Some of those change each year because Some councils deliver it every other year, you know, the smaller councils, the ones more remote. But in those 76, some of them have several, because of the size, they've got several locations. So they might have, to mind, Ashburton is one, or East Pilbara, you know, they're really huge. And so they have a couple of different locations. So that's the difference then in the councils and the locations. And last year we were over 700 nominations, which is incredible. That's probably at least three or four times more than we receive for the Australian of the Year, which gets an awful lot of promotion and a lot of public attention. So to get over 700 nominations across the state is pretty impressive, and over 240 awards presented. So that just gives you a bit of a background to some of the new coordinators that are out there in the councils. So there's several places where you can find the information about it. You've got the website, and I presume everyone has a login to access there's a tab on there that's for councils, and in there'll be graphics. The toolkit is in there. That's a pretty it's a pretty good document because I did it. No, it's a pretty comprehensive document that'll help you, guide you through the whole process, right from now, starting with the nominations through to when your awards are presented on Australia Day, and then afterwards in providing the information and photos and whatever, everything supporting that back to us. So it's a pretty comprehensive in there. It's easy to follow, the table of contents, and there's a timeline, which we will endeavour to try and follow and stick to that. Before I go any further, I'm remiss. I should have introduced you there to Fiona from our office. Fiona's reasonably new to the team, and she's been involved in a lot of the organisation for the program this year. We're having a little bit of a change around, and we've actually got a new team member starting on Monday who will take over some of that. Jenny will be, but while we're all new and moving around in different jobs, different roles, then it'll be Fiona and I that will continue with this and help Jenny along with it. But it's just the three of us that are involved in it, and Jackie is helping us with all the tech stuff that's come about with Zoom. We don't have an IT department, and Jackie's not an IT department, but she's ours. So thanks to her for helping us with all of this. It's certainly been an unusual year for everybody. So as well as those places where you can go to find we'll keep regular updates with some newsletters or emails, and they'll look a little bit like, they're a bit like that. So that's that. Nominations come through online. We moved away from the paper nomination forms a few years ago, and I've got this new online system. They come directly to you as the coordinator. We also receive a copy of those. So if something goes astray or somebody leaves, or you have new people in the job, let us know, and we can go back and check on the nominations that have come in from your councils. But some people still want a piece of paper to write on, and so you can download a nomination form in the For Councils tab. You can just print it off. It's on an A4, just 2 pages. It's got all the eligibility criteria and a few rules on there so that people can follow it. But we encourage, if people do use a paper form, to put an attachment to it, give more information. And we're trying to encourage people to give as much information as possible to make the selection so much easier. We go through the similar problems with the Australian of the Year awards. People fill in the forms and they think that we know the people, and we don't necessarily, and it doesn't give them the best option. So we have to go through and research, Google names and all sorts of things. So we're trying to minimize that, but it is difficult. In the online form we've put a minimum word count so that they have to put 50 words in there, but we can only try. If we put more than that, then it'll discourage people from filling in the forms. So we at least started with a minimum of 50, and let's see how that goes. But in a lot of cases, you will know local people, and so you might know someone who knows someone, and so you might have a better understanding of those local people that are nominated. But it can, we understand it gets tricky, but we are open to suggestions. If there are things that you think that we can incorporate better ways to do it, then we'll try and do that wherever we can. And we'll have I'll try and go through this reasonably quickly, the little info. A lot of you would be aware of it anyway, but there are some new coordinators online, so that's why I'm kind of giving a little bit of history and where to find stuff. But at the end, we'll have some questions time, so that we'll try and answer whatever questions you've got. I'll try. We've got some graphics. The colours have changed a little bit this year. We're all blue. Purple's gone. I'm happy about that. I wasn't a purple fan, but it was a national thing. So blue's a go. And there's several sizes, and they're all on there, downloadable on the website. Logos, everything, the graphics are all there. So, and again, we're keen to share the messaging of we're all part of the story, and reflect, respect, and celebrate. Social media is such an important thing for us. I know we receive support from Channel 9, 6PR, and WA Today this year, but it's limited. They give us what's available. As I say, they are being really proactive and really engaged, but we have to supplement that a lot with social media. So that's where the photos that you take each year and supply to us are so important, because we don't know the people. We can't go to those and can you send us a photo? And so if the photos that you provide us are so important, and so get in there, get up close, just take a head and shoulders, and they'll feel embarrassed. But if you don't get them on that day, then you won't get them. So it's really important. But I encourage you all to follow us at AusDay WA on Facebook and Instagram. We've got a Twitter account, but we don't do Twitter because it's we get enough through Facebook that tell us that we should be changing the date. So we don't need it on Twitter as well. So this program is all about recognising local heroes and champions of your community, and we want to focus on them as much as possible. This is what this is about. So the more we can share their good stories and put a local face to it, people are less likely to be a bit nasty about it. And we found that the best response to those posts are from those that feature local people, rather than a generic, congratulations or whatever. We get it. We get people to respond when it's got photos of the local people in there. I just want to say a thank you to Westcare Print, and if you are looking for a print supplier, these guys are so good. They're so easy to deal with. They're friendly. They do everything for us at the drop of a hat, and they're really supportive, and they do a really good job. They get the gold logos and the whole thing organised for us for our certificate. So thanks to them. They help us do other things as well, but particularly with the Citizen of the Year awards, and they have to turn around pretty quickly at the end of the year when we get all the names, and invariably we get a few late ones just because that's what happens. We try and plan to make sure that everything happens timely, but we understand that council meetings are scheduled and it fits in with those, but these guys turn it around for us really quickly. And again, I mentioned Channel 9 to come on board, and they've filmed the ad. It's not quite ready for production. I was hoping I was going to be able to show you this morning, but it's not quite ready. The radio ad is done, and I'll play that for you just so that you can listen out for it on 6PR. And also in these ads, they're going to feature Tracy Vo and Steve Mills. And we've also incorporated a couple of former recipients, so they will feature in those ads as well. One is Julian Pace, who is the founder of the Happiness Co, I think they're called, Happiness Co. And the other is, oh, I shouldn't have started on these names because her name's Thea Kerniawan. I think that's right. I hope she's not listening. But they're participating in those things. Oh, let me try this. I should be able to just share this sound. Let me know if it's okay, Jackie. This is the radio ad. It cuts in quickly, so bear with me if I do it wrong.
Get your nominations in for the 2021 Community Citizen of the Year. If you know someone or a group that's gone above and beyond, why not celebrate them through the Community Citizen of the Year Awards? These Australia Day Awards recognise significant contributions to community life. It's also a great time for us to reflect, respect and celebrate as we're all part of the story. Head to citizenshipawards.com.au, presented by AusPire and local councils on Australia Day and proudly supported by 9 News, WA Today and 882 6PR.
There we go. There we go. Well, I have to do the double click because it starts again. So that'll be coming starting on the 1st. Is that Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday. Okay, and then yesterday, out of the blue, we didn't ask for it, but she sent it because they knew that we were doing this session this morning. And Tracy Vo sent us a message, which was really kind of her, and it just shows their level of engagement. So I'll click on that. Let's give this a go.
Hi, Tracy Vo from 9 News Perth. It's so great to be involved in the 2021 Community Citizen of the Year Awards. So many locals and community groups have gone above and beyond this year, and it's so great to see the local councils recognising these people. Thanks for your support.
There you go. There you go. So that was really kind of her. So we'll share that. We'll share all of this information with you, so you can share with your teams there back in your local areas. And then a little bit more of information that's available for download. There's some score sheets on there, which your selection panels might use it. They're just tools that are there available. You don't have to. Some of you have your own things, but those new ones new councils might want to access those. And here's a few examples of some of the photos. That's the type of photos that we're looking for. And in the toolkit, there's all information about this. So if people are any further away than that, then we're not getting the best value out of them. People can't see their own faces, or they can't see Auntie Joan or Uncle Jim or whatever, so they like to be able to see their own faces, and the mayors love to see their faces in there too. So even if you've got a photo with your local mayor, or if you have an ambassador, put those on there. Try and get photos so we can share those photos. And we've got a gallery now that we've linked to with the Flickr page, and people can download their own photos from there too, with permission, of course. So that's that. And actually, I've got questions, but before I go to that, because we might get carried away in the questions, I just want to point you to one little thing, a bit of a promo for us. Is some of the other programs that we run, capacity building programs, we run, and we can do this in conjunction with local councils. There's a few on here today, I think, that have hosted some of these events. We run a series of civics and citizenship workshops and forums, and they're to introduce migrants to information how to get involved in their local communities, including information on the Australian levels of government and voting systems. We have people from the Constitution Centre talk, and our ambassadors or industry representatives. For instance, we've had people from the Road Safety Council speak to tell people about different things that they might not have come across before in their other countries before they've come here. Aboriginal cultural workshops are so popular. If you see those and you're interested in those, sign on quick, because honestly they sell out so quickly. We limit the numbers in there so that people get the opportunity to interact. If they go over a larger number, then we can't. It's not so personal. Where possible, we try and do them face-to-face, and so we host those in Perth somewhere, but that we're not averse to coming to Broome. Esperance is nice in summer. Albany is lovely, one of my favourites. So but they can be we can do those either online and that came about through COVID. We wouldn't have done it if it didn't put us in that situation. So this is giving us the opportunity to offer these around the state. And Jackie, who's our host on here, runs those. And a new opportunity that arose through this recent times, and that where we would normally have held breakfast events or lunches or one-off events with members of our Inspiring Australians network, and we've started a series of Lunch with Leaders, and we're just about to do the third one, and it's on Australia's Citizenship Day on the 17th of September. And I encourage you all to share that with your networks and sign up to that. They're free. Bring your own lunch, of course. But we're featuring 4 young Australian of the Year finalists or recipients, and they're all over the world: New York, Dubai, Geneva, and one from Perth. And they will all talk about global citizenship. So it's a good opportunity. So, okay. So that's the promo. Now I want to open it to questions. So how are we doing this, Jackie? Are people typing them in, or do we want to be able to talk? I'm happy to do the talking.
Yeah, look, I think we've got a fairly small group. There are a couple of people, Anne-Marie, who've said to us that they can see and hear us, but they don't have access to microphone or video. So perhaps we'll do a little bit of a blend. If you are one of those people who don't have access to microphone or video, you're welcome to type in the chat and I'll flag those questions for Anne-Marie.
Okay, so if I take my screen sharing off.
Yep.
That's good.
That's right, you're back with us.
Hello. Okay. Oh, look at all those people. Cool. Oh, I know lots of those names.
So yeah, if anyone does have a question, feel free to unmute your microphone and just get that conversation going. I think it is nice to talk in person where we can. Yeah,
I think so. Come on, somebody's got a question. There's some new people on here. I know.
Hey guys, my name's Mick. I'm from the Shire of Derby. The radio ad, are we able to get a copy of that play on our local radio stations, or because like in Derby, you don't really have, we won't get, not many people listen to Perth radio or anything like that. So.
Okay, I'll ask them what their permission is on that, or we'll ask that question. But we can certainly provide you with the copies of it. There may be ways that we can do this. Otherwise, we'll have them on. We'll have it also on. Once we get the TV ad and the radio ad, we'll put something to the radio ad, and maybe we'll at least share that on YouTube. Links to YouTube, so that may be a way around doing some things. But I'll check with the people at 6PR and see what our permissions are.
Yeah, it'll be like a local Aboriginal radio station kind of thing. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah.
They just play in communities and stuff like that. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, we'll do what we can. If not, then we're happy to do radio spots. We can talk on radio. Yeah, we can do that. We'll find a way around it some way for sure, mate.
Beautiful.
Does anyone comment, Anne-Marie, from Carolyn, who says maybe we could have access to the radio advert or TV in a Facebook-friendly format as well?
Sure. Yeah, we'll share them on Facebook. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll share all of that as soon as we have it. We'll do it, and it'll be also on the website. They'll feature on the COTY Citizenship Awards website. We'll put them up on there. I think there's an old one on there at the moment. I might have disabled it because it was from Channel 7.
No worries. Also, Anne-Marie, we've had something from Claudia saying, are you doing the ambassador program again? And will COVID limit this program?
Will what, sorry?
Will COVID limit this program?
It shouldn't do. We're fine at this stage to do it as long as the local councils take in account of whatever the restrictions are with COVID safety. At this stage, we're fine to do it. We don't anticipate any issues with it. It's just your local spacing and all of that happens, and it might mean that some of the ceremonies and celebrations that you may have to be modified a little, so that you've got a bit more space. Or but I don't know, every time I go into Coles or Woolworths, it's like nobody's ever had COVID issues, that people just walking around, but as organisers we have to be respectful of the restrictions that are the rules of the day. And so and they, I'm not sure how we'll go by then. We were hoping that they were going to be lifted by now, but they're not. So but it certainly is intending to go away. And further to it, Tracy Vile and Steve Mills have both accepted our invitation to become Australia Day ambassadors this year. So, which is, that shows their level of support, which is really good, and it might help us attract some new. We did send out an email, a newsletter to councils with there's a video link in there asking for nominations for ambassadors. So if you know of someone that you think it would make a worthy ambassador, please let us know, and we'll put it to our selection committee, and then we'll look into that. But obviously, if you suggest someone, then provide a little bit of information, supporting information about them. But yeah,
Anne-Marie, we've got another question that's come through from Kelsey. So she's asking, does anyone have any other creative ways to push the nomination process? We find that sometimes towards the end, we're ringing around or putting in nominations ourselves.
Does anybody have any? We've got some suggestions in the, Sue's there, put a hand up. We've got some suggestions in the toolkit, but I'm happy to hear more creative ones than we've suggested.
We get in touch with all of the schools in the area. I send it out to all of our counsellors, any of our contacts through community services, like our volunteer groups and seniors, that sort of stuff. What else do we do? We contact all of the nominees from the year before, just in case they know of other people around. We obviously put it on social media, and we do a couple of print ads. We've got a couple of different newspapers that we can use. But yeah, I think it's this year. I was wondering whether we should even include the hospitals.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like that's something that we've not done in the past, but because of what's happened this year, they'd surely be front runners. You would think, or some of them.
Sure.
So I was just wondering, do we print out posters and take it to the hospital and see if they'll put them up, or?
Sure. Yeah, and I would suggest that any time from now until the closing date, that any of your local council staff who are talking to outside groups should mention it. It should, so go to your comms team, or the marketing people, or whoever writes the script or the speeches for anyone that's going out, to finish it off with, please nominate someone worthy in your, that face-to-face, and having the engagement of your council staff is really important. And also that you yourselves can nominate people. There's no conflict. As long as you're not on the selection panel, or if you are on the selection panel, that you identify that potential conflict, then there is nothing stopping council members or staff nominating people, because you work with volunteers and organisations that help community groups throughout the year. So you probably know better than most as to who's worthy, and sometimes it's not the president or the chairman of the group. Sometimes it's the secretary that gets all the rotten jobs. So, but you're the ones that know those people. Oh.
Can I just ask, with the toolkit, because I've just jumped online so I could download it or print it out. I can see my email regarding it, but I can't see that it's under the For Councils section. So, you know, where you had the timeline and that information. I can't see a link to download it or to open the document.
Okay, I'll check that. I'll check that. We'll do it. I can't. I'm
Okay,
all hooked up with screens, and I don't want to mess anything up. So I don't want to.
That's okay. I just found it.
Oh, have you?
I reread it.
Oh, okay. Is there an issue? Is it hard to see? Because if it is hard to see, then we'll change it.
I think because there's a link underneath it that isn't a link. Like there's a title there that says selection panel score sheet, but you can't. Like when you hover over some of them, you can see they're a link, and when you hover over some titles, they're not links.
Okay, we'll just double check all of those links when we get off here and do it straight away.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had a few suggestions on the chat around COVID and printing up some Aspire branded face masks. So and just generally people talking about having been quite busy with COVID recovery, so just getting onto the nominations for this as well.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. We understand that, you know, it must be horrendous. I mean, we run events as well, and we know how it's impacted on us, having to change the way that we run things and the way that we look at things, and working remotely and all those things that we've had to do, and that's been a real learning experience for everyone. And you know, we've all picked up some skills that we didn't know that we needed before, but are probably benefiting from them now. Like this, you know, we wouldn't have probably never considered doing something like this, and maybe we should schedule one closer to the end to see if there's any issues that people might have. You know, maybe 2 weeks before we close the nomination, so that if there's any, you know, burning issues that people have, that we can do that. We'll take advice on that, see whether anybody is interested. But we'll schedule one, and if people want to, they can join in. But
just a brief comment from Sandra as well, Anne-Marie, saying that here in the city of Coburn, they have volunteer awards program during the year. So this year they are also asking on the nomination form for that if the nominator would also like to nominate the person for the COTY awards. So hoping to pick up nominations. That's
really good, yeah, because I think the volunteering awards are recognised around about November, if I'm correct. I'm not quite sure. And the nominations are. We also, I noticed Caroline's got a question there, but just we've also included on the Australian of the Year awards that same tick box, so that people will let us share their nominations in other Australia Day awards. And so we'll go through those now, because those nominations have closed. So anyone who doesn't get through the shortlisting of that, we will put forward in the nominations, hopefully in your councils. Hopefully we'll get some nice ones out of that, because sometimes they're a little bit more local than is relevant to Australian of the Year awards. So there'll be some we can share. I think Caroline had a question or a point.
Just a comment from Caroline that I saw, I think, was saying that Volunteer Day is the 5th of September. December, sorry, can't read.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If only Australia Day was on a different date and we didn't have to do it all over Christmas. It'd be much easier, wouldn't it?
So I think that's it from the chat, mostly, Anne-Marie. So there's a few things for us to follow up on.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Are there any questions, anything burning that you need before the nominations officially open? Although they are open now, people can nominate now. The website's open. But.
Anne-Marie, it's probably not a burning question, but what we do here in Esperance is we tend to, because we're a smaller town and we don't get lots and lots of nominations, we don't actually shortlist into finalists. Is that an issue?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. You do what's right. You know, if you've got 3 nominations, then there's no point shortlisting.
Oh yeah. But some we might get 7 or 8, and we don't shortlist into finalists.
No.
We'd like to.
And sometimes someone might be nominated in one category, and you think that they're going to do better in another one. Move them across. You know,
yeah, we do that. Yeah.
Make sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. All right. Okay, well, thanks everyone. I hope it was useful, and it was really useful for me just to put some faces that we've been dealing with over the years, and introduce you to Fiona and Jackie. So, and as I say, if there's any of you that are interested in some of those workshops, get in touch with us, and Jackie can help you out with those, because they're really, really popular. Okay, thanks everyone.